Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well, staying healthy, enjoying life and must be planning to improve your life. Here we are to do so. Here daily we read a chapter of a novel to develop reading habit to improve our English, including reading, writing, speaking, vocabulary at the same time, enhancing our knowledge. As we know, reading is the best practice to develop all these things, which help us in many ways. And reading could be one of the good hobby to make a change in ourselves, as we have heard from many prominent personalities that books change their lives, add values, widen their knowledge, begin life others' life. While reading a book and get all those experience and learn from their mistake. So why to commit same mistake if we can learn from them and improve our life? So join me in this journey to become best version of ourselves. Before starting, I would love to hear your thought in comments section. Remember to like, share with your loved one to change their life as well, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Press the bell icon for daily updates. And currently, we are reading a novel, which is which name is Like It Happened Yesterday, written by Ravinder S, one of the best author of I Too Had a Love Story and Can Love Happen Twice. So we are reading this chapter. Yesterday already we were on the seventh chapter of this book, and we were reading the seventh chapter, and in the between, due to some technical issue, we disconnected. So we will continue from there only. So that chapter name is Life Greatest Mystery Solved. Here we got to know that there is a one question in author mind which crossed on his seventh birthday, and after that he started questioning this to her father, mother, friends, but he was not satisfied with anyone's answer. So he was always thinking that how he was born and how he was brought in this planet. One day on Sunday, he was sitting and having breakfast, watching television. It was a 9 o'clock when there was a uh, channel Mahabharat was going on the TV, and his mom was watching that television. So he also joined because he was waiting for his next coming episode, which was Jungle Book and other things. But he stick to Mahabharat episode when he see that he was going to get a clue that how child was born and how any child is born. So when his younger brother Tinku insisted him to go out and play with him, so he made him shut up and say that he is not going to go out because his eyes were glued on the skin, because maybe he was going to get the clue that how child is born. So we will read next and see that what is there for us and how he get to know whether he get to know or not. So these all things we will get in this chapter. So let's start. Chup ho ja, please, I shouted to Tinku when he insisted I go out and play with him. I could. How could I? I had just seen a ray of hope. Here was my chance to find out how a baby was produced. That too, live on a national television. Who cared to play? So here, he was not ready to go out because he was going to get a clue that how baby was produced on the national television. So he didn't care to go out and play. I can never forget that episode. Kunti had a spherical water vessel of a brass in her hand as she walked to the window of her beautifully decorated, luxurious room. She stretched her arm outside the window and gazed at the bright morning sun in the sky. She tilted the vessel and water flowed out of it to the ground. She closed her eyes and recited something, some kind of mantra. I observed her lips, but failed to disappear any part of it. So Ravinder was observing that what was going on the television, and he showed that Kunti, which is a one character of a Mahabharata. Kunti was holding a vessel which was made of brass in hand, and she was offering that water to a son, and she was uh, her eyes was closed and she was reciting something, but author was unable to disappear anything out of it. He couldn't get that what she was whispering. Right then, something happened that was difficult to digest for me. Even at the age, a man dressed in a fine robes walked out of the sun. He walked down to Kunti on an invisible staircase. Surya Devta, Kunti whispered to herself, Sun God, I whispered to my brother. My eyes were glued to our black and white TV set. Mo- Mowgli, कब आएगा? टिंकू inquired aloud about the jungle book. थप्पड़ पे जाएगा तन्नू, चुप हो जा. Mom repeated her favorite line, warning us to shut up or else we would get slapped. So his mom was also watching television. So when Tinku was inquiring that when his Mowgli will come, so Tinku, along with his mother, make him shut up and say that they shut up or else you will get a slap. So I turned my attention back to a skin. I had been taught that Neil Armstrong had taken several days to reach the moon. Suryadevda took only half a minute to land up in a Kunti's room. That too, he didn't even need a rocket. He had simply walked. Science and Sanskrit had always appeared contradictory subject to me at our school. So he was unable to get that how a Surya Devata can only come in a Kunti's room only in a half a minute. Yeah, and he had heard that Neil Armstrong had taken a several day to reach a moon. How it was possible? And it was like a alien for him. Science and Sanskrit. Science and Sanskrit subject was alien for him, as he has explained here. For some reason, Surya Devta looked duller in a comparison to the other gods in Mahabharata. He lacked the necessary confidence and didn't carry the hint of a smile that every other god did. When I look back, I suspect that his headgear had probably not been of the right side, making him making him look really uncomfortable in his mukut. Kunti joined her hand and bowed in front of him, after which they talked some more. Suryadevta asked Kunti the purpose of her calling him. Kunti mentioned that she was simply testing her powers of summoning him and didn't have any purpose in mind. Suryadevta appeared visibly offended and said that he couldn't go back without giving her anything. So he would bless her with a baby. That was all he said. But no one in this world would have been as curious as I was to see the rest of the episode. My eyes were glued on the TV set. I looked at the wall clock. Only 15 minutes of the show were left. I wondered if the act of the producing the baby couldn't be complete in those 15 minutes. I had my finger crossed. But then Kunti went mad. As Suryadevta insisted on giving her a baby, she started refusing his offer. Suryadevta told her that there was no going back once he had uttered the blessing from his own mouth. But Kunti was still trying to resist. Have it, Godamati, Godamnit, I shouted at the TV, kicking up my legs on the chair. Mom looked at me with surprise. The world around me ceased to exist. The only existing entity was our Konark Rohini Deluxe 14-inch black and white TV set with Kunti and Surya Devta in it. Time was racing on the clock on the wall. I was so close to discovering the ultimate truth of my life, but Kunti was busy throwing her tantrum. So here, author was um, about to find the that how he was born and how Surya Devta has given this offer to Kunti. But Kunti was continuously resisting this, so he was in the rest like how he wanted to get as soon as possible because there was only a few minutes left to end the episode. So he was saying that why she is busy in doing all this tantrum, she should accept this. Exactly at 9:53 a.m., Suryadevta raised his right hand. A spectrum of flashing rays of light erupted from the center of his stretched palm and alighted on Kunti's stomach, and then spread the spread to engulf her entire body. The background music was that of the thunderstorm, and soon the entire TV screen was drenched, drenched, drenched in light. All this while, I was so engrossed in it that I could almost feel the baby taking birth in my own tummy. So here he was engrossed in that TV show that he felt that Surya Devta was uh, offering that baby in his stomach. At 9:55 a.m., the rays disappeared. Suryadevta had done his job. Kunti had a baby boy in her arms. She didn't look happy. I was very happy. I had seen it all. There was not any doubt left in my mind. I had seen it all, right from scratch. That was such a glorious end to my 3 week old dilemma and the most difficult puzzle of my life. So he was happy because he has discovered finally that how he was born. He thought that the same way the way Kunti got his baby boy, he also have one in this earth. So that's why he was happy because now he had discovered and he has solved his dilemma which have been from 3 weeks. Some discoveries are worth remembering for a lifetime. Some discoveries are so close to the heart that only the discoverer can feel them and cherish them. I could empathize with my childhood hero, Columbus. I felt exactly the way he might have felt after discovering America. He was now empathizing with the Columbus that day, and he is thinking that only discoverer can feel this happiness and cherish them who has actually discovered. No one can in this world feel that much happy who discovered anything new. It was indeed a very happy Sunday. In the night, after a long time, I slept peacefully. Early the next morning, I woke up feeling quite rested and energized. I felt as if I had achieved something in life. Barefoot in my vest and shorts, and with a toothbrush in my mouth, I was roaming in our courtyard with a air of superiority. The white front of the toothpaste was all over my mouth, and some of it had dripped on my wrist as well. So next, he went to sleep peacefully after a long time, and when he woke up in the morning, he was satisfied that he has achieved something great in life, and he was brushing his teeth, and he had discovered that how his all that tooth brush forms were spreading all over his waist and all over his mouth. Then suddenly one of our neighbors opened his window. We knew this lady well. She came to our house often to meet my mother. When I looked at her, I wanted to wish her a good morning, but I was afraid that all the froth in my mouth would spill out. She too saw me but didn't say anything. She was busy doing something. In the background, I heard my mother shouting at me. Often, when I brushed my teeth, I would forget to scrub my teeth properly and go into a world of daydreaming. With the toothbrush stuck in my mouth, it was usual thing for mom to remind me to clean my upper teeth properly. On hearing her voice, I changed the direction of my brush from the left side of the mouth to right. And then all of a sudden something caught my eyes and my mouth fell open. The neighboring auntie has stretched her arm outside of her window. In her hands was spherical water vessels of the same kind I had seen in Mahabharata. Oh boy, I thought, and hid behind the guava tree in our garden for a better and unobstructed view. The brush was frozen in my mouth. I ignored mom's instruction. Auntie looked at the sun, mumbled something, and started pouring water to the ground. I rubbed my leg against the other to drive away the garden flies. Her eyes were closed, but her lips were moving. I tried to read that mantra. She might have been reciting like Kunti, but failed to do so. Yet again, the peppermint flavored front of my lips stretched into the widest smile ever. The toothbrush slipped out of the gap formed after the loss of my two front teeth. My dry eyes twinkled. I looked at the sun and I looked at her. And I looked at the sun again, waiting to see the god walk down. It would happen any time now. You don't want to go to school or what? My mother's sharp turn broke into my reverie. She was standing right next to me. Then she began to drag me away. So here, author hide herself in a guava tree and noticing her neighbor's auntie to see that she was doing exactly the same thing which Kunti was doing on the TV screen, and she got a uh, baby boy. So he thought that again Suryadevta was about to come and he will offer him a baby. But meanwhile, her mama come next to him and bring him along with him to make him ready for the school. Mummy, एक minute, oh, please, एक minute, please. I begged, but was an effort in vain. He was requesting for a 1 minute to see that what was going to happen. But her mama dragged him straightway to a bathroom and warned 5 minutes and you would through with your bath. So she gave her a 5 minute for the bath. I hated her and wanted to tell her that I knew she had lied to me, that she knew how I had been born, but for some reason I couldn't do anything but stare at her eyes. See, the cool water washed away my anger. By the time I was done with my bath, I had forgotten that I had been angry with mom. But the thoughts of what must have happened to auntie were still there. After a while, when mom was combing my hair and pulling it into a bun, she affectionately asked me, किन्नू देख रहा सी बाहर ब्रश करते हुए? whom were you looking at while you were brushing? I smiled but didn't answer. She hugged my school bag on my shoulders and asked again, बोल, वो 3 नंबर वाली आंटी है ना? I saw her trying to have a baby, I said confidently. My mother froze for a moment and grabbed my shoulder tightly. She knelt down to make eye contact with me. There was a smile on her lips. There was a confusion in between the lines of her forehead. So her mama asked that where he were looking at the time of brushing. So he confessed that he he see that her his neighbor were having a child, but his mama was frozen because she couldn't believe this. Then she smiled and she couldn't speak anything. Only there was a confusion on his her mind, and there was a smile on his lips. I saw her trying to have baby. 4 years had passed by since I had been put into a school. The first 2 years went by simply in setting the context and understanding what it meant to be the first in the class. The third year involved figuring out a way to achieve that. The fourth year, and the worst of all four, just proved that the previous year answers were all wrong. I was extremely happy that the final exam were over. All right ahead of me were the long summer vacation, but my parents were not as happy as I was because I had failed to make them proud. They picked up my mark sheet and went through it a lot more times than I had held in my own hands. I had scored well, but according to them, not well enough to merit a pat on my back. I had secured the 10th position in the class. We were some 30 odd students in all. See, this is where you need to focus, Mom told me, pointing to the mathematics score on the mark sheet. If you can get all the answer right, this is one subject in which you can easily score 100 out of the 100, she said. I had scored a score of 85 out of 100 and wondered whether another 50 marks would have made me the class topper. Mom explained that if I studied harder, there was nothing I couldn't achieve. Look at your classmate Mandeep. He had scored 100 out of 100 and he is far ahead of you. You should be friends with him at school, Mom said before she headed for the kitchen. Back in my room, I kept thinking about the 20 other students who were behind me in this race. I wondered if their mothers wanted them to be friends with me. But I did listen to my mother. I didn't want to disappoint her. So, updating my friend circle was the very first change I made personally. I have never understood this practice of making and breaking friendship based on a people's mark sheet. Didn't we make friends by choosing the people we got along the best with? However, there was something more to it this time. Irrespective of whether mom was right or wrong, her comparing me to Mandeep had only made me more jealous of him. So after that he uh, got a result. After that all scenario, when he got a result, he was not on the first position. So he mom pointed out that you have scored less 50 marks less in a mathematics, where you could have scored 100 out of 100, and see the Mandeep who has scored 100 out of 100. You should friendship with him because he's a class topper. So author was confused that why this practice is that we should friendship and break up friendship with the topper and break up with the others. He never got this, and he was thinking that might who is left, who is behind 30 student who is left and behind him. His mothers were telling them to friendship with him. So this dilemma were next to him, and he then did the same as his mother requested. He first uh, break up with the whole friends and friendship with the toppers, but it make him jealous to Mandeep because he scored well comparatively to him. So he was little jealous to him. So this is all about his now result. So this is all about it. I hope you love this chapter, and if you like, so please like, share with your friends, and subscribe, and press the bell icon for the daily updates. Tomorrow we are going to read this next chapter, that is I Have a Pen. We will read this, and we will see that what is there for us and what we can get from this chapter. So till then, bye bye, take care.